So when you've been bullied growing up at school, and you've been hurt, and your confidence has been broken down, and you've developed a lot of anxiety disorders, it can make it very hard to trust people and build relationships. For all the obvious reasons: fear of being hurt again, the shame of showing who you are, opening up, the fear of love, the fear of intimacy. And I went through all these things, and I'm going to read out one of my own honest confessions, which has changed my life and helped me a lot. It helps a lot of my clients, and I'm confident it can do the same for you. I was having a mentoring session with one of my clients, James. He invested in my one-year program, and we were working through a lot of these things about, how do you overcome the fear of going back out in life again and building relationships when you've been in a relationship and you've been hurt, you've had a breakup. It's really difficult. It's one of the hardest things to go through and grow through, but I've done it. And you can do it. And there's a process in how you do it. But let me read this out, right? This will help a lot of people. And this is one of my teachings, if not all, which is honest confession. And I'll explain a bit later on why that's so powerful, and it saved my life and helped so many people. And with the honest confession, you don't just confess what you're frightened about. As you're confessing, you're giving yourself, this is how you're loving yourself, you're healing yourself, you're giving yourself that confidence. And it takes courage. But you're overcoming what other people will think, because people are going to think what they're going to think, and they're going to say what they're going to say. But the most important thing is what you think about you, and how you live, and what you say. And then it's the action, because there's having a problem, and there's saying, this is the fear, this is my issue, and then it's creating a strategy to overcome that problem, which I'll explain throughout this video. So bear with me while I wrote this today. This is beautiful. It took me a long time, so I'm going to read through it. I'm going to try not to rush. So, honest confession, this is about me, and this is about anyone that's got this struggle and how to improve it and how I've done it. And I mentor my clients. I mostly mentor them on this area by sharing my vulnerabilities and stories. So when I spend time with a person that I love, and they love me, and we share our hearts, and it feels so good to do that. It feels so great. Of course, that's the meaning of life, love, family, friends, opening your heart, which takes a lot of courage for anyone to do, and be vulnerable, and to trust and open up and show your weaknesses, especially when you've been hurt when you're younger. I'd say that is a lot harder than someone who hasn't been hurt as much, but pretty much everyone's been hurt at some point, and it's inevitable. It's called life. So I find it very difficult. It's gotten easier for me when I spend great time with someone, and we have this, meaningful, intimate time. And when it comes time to say goodbye, I still am, and I was always really afraid of the loneliness that comes after, post connection and love, especially when the person lives in another country or they live far away. That feeling of loss, even if you're going to see them again, just the feelings that come up after. So it's painful to experience that love of another person. It's painful to have that connection with one another and with yourself, and then to disconnect from that love and from that connection. So as much as it's one of the best feelings in the world, I loved it as a kid, still love it as an adult. And a lot of the times people find it hard to admit it, especially men, because there's a sense of shame and I don't want to be soft and all that, which is ridiculous. But it's a wonderful feeling to feel loved, to feel appreciated and loved, and to make someone else feel like that. So yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also very upsetting. This is my words, my account. It's heartbreaking, but later on it's healing. At the time, you always think, I don't want this pain later on. The pain of having a great time with someone or being close with someone and then separating and being on your own and feeling lonely because you're not with that person anymore, or for a long period of time. But later on, you realize that this pain that you're terrified of is a blessing in disguise. This pain that we all experience, this pain of connection and love and intimacy and opening up and showing our vulnerabilities, not just our strengths and our bank account and all the things that go well, but showing people who we are with all our cracks, all our vulnerabilities and our talents. This is the consequences of loving someone and caring about them. So I said this isn't a bad thing. So the pain leaves you with the strength and the wisdom to transform your life and inspire others to do the same. If you've got the courage and the strength to act on the wisdom that the pain has given you. This is what I learned about, whether it's the pain of a breakup or it's just the pain of having such a good friendship with someone and having that closeness and that connection and that honesty and that vulnerability. So I've gone on to write, this anxiety trigger originates all the way back to my childhood. I remember struggling to be on my own with my own emotions after having a great connection with a close family member or a friend, or maybe a girl that I was in love with, or a girlfriend, or or a male friend, or a family member, or all your family. I really struggled with that. It really frightened me. That really played on that abandonment anxiety, or the opposite, even the fear of closeness. All those fears around love and connection, and sometimes the confusion around that, and that kind of feeling of, what do I do now? Being so close and then feeling so distant on your own, being scared. And I've also gone on to write here that it's not easy to open your heart with someone and share your vulnerabilities, especially when you're naturally a sensitive person, which I was growing up, which I still am, and you're an introverted person. It can feel very, very difficult, very painful, you can feel vulnerable after. You go from experiencing the best feeling in the world, which is love, connection, appreciation, joy, all the things that come with friendship and connection, to the worst feeling in the world, which is a feeling of sadness, sorrow, loneliness, even sometimes rejection when the person hasn't rejected you and you've not rejected them. It's just because you've separated. Obviously at some point we can't be with someone every single minute of every single day of every single hour. So the highs and lows of loving someone or having a connection, very challenging to the heart. This is a fear that I never shared for so many years, because I was scared of how other people would view me, not so much what they would say, but what they would think of me for being so vulnerable about my feelings and emotions. I went on to write later on, I got bullied very badly in school for showing my personality and my emotions and my vulnerability, and that broke me down and gave me crippling anxiety and depression. This was later my motivation to rebuild myself back, get my confidence back, and go on and help other people to build their confidence back. We all get broken down in life. It's just a question of when and a matter of time. But it's how we come back, which is what defines ourselves. I encourage my clients, other people, and you watching this video to get back up after you've been broken down. Feeling lonely is considered a failure in our society. Even though everyone feels it, yet most people don't have the courage to be honest about it. And I thought I'd be brave and be honest about my post-loneliness when I've had a great connection with a person. I used to think I was weak for being so insensitive and emotional, but it was only later on that I realised that this was my strength, and this was other people's weaknesses who criticised me, bullied me, and shamed me and put me down. This is why they judged me at school. I speak out about how I'm feeling because it's true. What could be better or stronger than the truth? How can you say you're strong if you can't even allow yourself to be vulnerable? It's not like you stay weak and vulnerable and lonely forever. It's a temporary experience that eventually dissolves like all emotions, good, bad, and indifferent. I'm 40 years of age, and now I'm dealing with this anxiety trigger 1 billion times more than how I used to in my younger years. Because I want to be more truthful in my life. I don't want fear and anxiety blackmailing me and keeping me in a mental and emotional prison. And I want to inspire and motivate millions of men and women to be brave as well and be vulnerable and live their best life. I'm stronger at dealing with the loneliness when it gets triggered, after spending time with someone that I love and going our separate ways. I know a little bit more about who I am. I know how to find gratitude in the loneliness because of my experience in 2017 in the mental hospital, having a mental health breakdown after living such an amazing life. Having a mental health breakdown is not just about having a mental breakdown of the mind, it's also having a breakdown of the heart. I ran from all my childhood fears for the first 20 years of my life because I was terrified of feeling the feelings of my own anxieties and my own triggers and emotions. I was afraid of facing the truth. The fear of connection and abandonment controlled me. Those contradicting fears, the fear of not being loved and the fear of love, all of it frightened me and bullied me, and the voices that came with that. It's no different to the school bully that threatens you and threatens you with more bullying if you speak up and you tell the teachers that he stole your lunch money, and he's continuing to bully you physically and verbally. Keeping quiet is agony. Not being honest about your fear and anxiety is how you stay stuck in fear permanently. The pain of keeping things in is far greater than the pain of being vulnerable and confessing these fears and anxieties and insecurities out loud. When you honestly confess your fear from a sincere place, you immediately feel a sense of relief, and in due time you become stronger both mentally, emotionally and spiritually. Being weak makes you strong, and being strong all the time makes you weak. It's not a weakness to announce your anxieties, it's actually a weakness to lie about them. How can you ever get to know yourself if you can't be honest with yourself? How can you try and love and accept yourself if you can't be honest about how you feel? I knew this deep down as a kid, and I knew it was a very brave thing to do, to be honest about how I was feeling despite people attacking me and judging me and laughing at me. People bully because they're insecure, and they're very threatened by sensitivity, by kindness, by compassion, by honesty, by love, by vulnerability. It triggers their anxiety about not feeling lovable, about their own vulnerabilities, and about the fact that they don't have the courage to voice their vulnerabilities, that they've got the same fear as well. Keeping your emotions bottled up is the quickest way towards developing an anxiety disorder, maintaining it and furthering mental health problems. I transformed my life several times because I had the courage to be honest about my anxieties, and I had the courage to face my anxieties, and in doing so I became more confident and less concerned about what other people thought about me, what they said. Honest confession followed by taking action, the right action at the right time from the right place, for the right amount of focus time, is how you overcome these anxieties. For years I felt hopeless because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to overcome these anxieties that continued to plague me throughout my teens and my adult life, which originated from my childhood. I felt lonely at times from being so afraid and keeping things bottled up. Pain and suffering forced me to tell the truth about my story and how I became successful for the last 20 years at announcing my fears publicly and conquering them with a heart set that I learned as a young boy on Warwick Estate, the council estate, when my dad would take me out and make me fight bullies one-on-one. My courage comes from being so afraid as a kid growing up. I'm only this brave deep down because I'm so afraid at times. I'm afraid to live, I'm afraid to die, I'm afraid to love in case I get hurt. I'm afraid of my own courage because part of me doesn't feel worthy to be so confident and to say these words and to be so honest. Because of what I was taught inadvertently growing up from the bullying and the abuse that I underwent at school, the psychological damage that created these stories, these fears and these emotions. Feeling so insecure and feeling so confident is a very confusing and contradicting truth. But it's a story of me and it's a story of all people. I've studied people for 40 years, and one of the things that I'm certain about is everyone is terrified deep down, regardless of what people say and what they present on the outside. Being afraid doesn't make you less of a person. It's how you respond to the fear which ultimately defines you. The hero and the coward both feel afraid, but they both act differently, which is what separates who they are and who they choose to be. Being honest about your fear and facing it is how you conquer it, whatever the fear may be. Thank you for listening to my story, and I am certain that my story will inspire you to share your story and to overcome your anxieties and to build confidence. So this is one of the methods that I teach my clients to overcome their fears and live their dreams. What I've learned about these fears, these abandonment issues, or the opposite of abandonment, which is a fear of your potential and not feeling abandoned, that frightened me too and still does. I've got better. The more you face them the less fearful they become. The more you grow, the more you heal. And you know when you're healing, you know when you're better, because you can speak about it with no shame, with no stuttering, with no fear of what people think, because the truth is more important, and you're beating it. And then you can enjoy it. And guess what happens? What's been happening to me of recent? I actually found the solution to this problem that I didn't know for so many years, and I'm going to give it to you now. It's not easy, it's not a quick fix, but if you practice it today, it could fix things quickly. You've got to connect to who you are. And that can be very ambiguous at times. People say, so you've got to live your purpose. You've got to go back to gratitude. You've got to live your life. You've got to find that love in yourself, and it's there. I didn't believe it was there as a young kid throughout my 20s and even my early 30s, because I didn't try and look for it. Because I didn't realize unconsciously I was too dependent on other people loving me and their approval, which is brilliant if you learn from that and you say, I need to get the right balance, because that ain't healthy long term for relationships. I can't be needing someone to complete me and relying on them, because for number one, they can't do that. Number two, that's not their job, especially as an adult. Number three, that wouldn't be healthy anyway. So I learned to actually be good on my own through the experience I've gone through the mental hospital. Gratitude, cooking, cleaning, living my dreams, what I'm doing now, teaching, speaking. It's simple things that sometimes get undervalued because of the complexities of the anxiety and the feeling of I'm not enough, or I don't feel loved, or love's been taken away. And being kind to others. The more loving I am to others, the more it takes those feelings away. And it's connection. When we connect with another person, which is beautiful, we help them to connect to themselves. They help us to connect to ourselves. The love that we bring to one another is like a deeper connection. So of course when you separate, do you think you're the only one that's going to feel that? Because I used to just think about me. Oh, I feel rejected. Oh, I'm lonely. Oh, the love's good. They're feeling the same. If it's true and it's real, and love, if it's fake, then it's not real love, they're going to be feeling the same thing. That's beautiful. So it's not about judging yourself for feeling lonely or separated or, or abandoned, even though that's not the case. Because this would happen to me even in a relationship. This would happen when we're going to meet again, because the issue was in me and the issue is in us, which is great, because that means you're the only one who could fix it. So I'm not going to put my faith on others. That's not what I do, but I share my story. Praying has massively helped me of recent. But of course, the practicalities of life are very important. Going to the gym. Don't stop living because you've separated from a great connection, you feel lonely, because loneliness is part of anxiety. It will trick you, feed the low. So then when you say I'm generally lonely, help me, you find that you're not that lonely, and then you find ways of getting out of lonely. It's a temporary thing. People freak out, and as I said, I go back to being a child in my bedroom feeling these feelings, and I was young, and then those feelings, that pattern following me and haunting me as an adult, me going, I understand this now. I'm an adult now, I've got more experience, I know how to take care of myself. You've got to learn to regulate yourself, love yourself. And of course, it's not just saying it. You can't just say it and you don't mean it. You've got to actually learn to get to that place of loving yourself. And I think a lot of it is connection. It's not just emotions. Emotions are fleeting. It's the connection. But it's good for you. It helps both of you. You don't even realize it. You heal each other through connection. Of course, that's the meaning of life. What are we all doing here? It can't just be for Instagram likes and followers. That's miserable, that's boring, that lasts about a second. We're here to love, we're here to connect. I don't have all the answers to the deepest questions of life, no one does. I believe in God, but we're here to love, we're here to connect. And if you take that away, we all need each other. So that takes away that feeling that I'm abandoned, they're there, I'm here. No, everyone's equal. That's how I see it. Not everyone believes that, but I know that's true. So humility, gratitude, and then an hour later, or a day later, you don't feel lonely no more. But it's learning how to live and survive and thrive in all those places. Because if you can only be good when you're in love, when there's connection, when there's people there, or when you feel good on your own, because I feel good on my own a lot, but that's different. Feeling good on your own is brilliant, and that can be quite easy, but it's not as easy when you open your heart and you're vulnerable and someone else opens their heart and you both spend quality time and you've got memories and emotions and you do things and you share things and you encourage and you love. That's different, because then when you go away, you kind of, then you're processing your feeling, but it's all part of being human. It's nothing to be ashamed of. We've been taught this, you have to unlearn it. And that's why I speak out on these things, because it's life-changing. And I know that so many people, men and women, are struggling with this, because I know from my struggle. So progress, and I always love doing this. I get my clients to do it, and I do it. I like to reflect and go, how am I doing with this existing problem that's been challenging me? This feeling of when I'm with people, whether it's family, friends, a partner, whoever it may be, and we're really close, and then we separate, and those feelings, I'm on my own now, they're not there, it's lonely, the memories, I feel pain. So how do I deal with that now? Much better. Well, that means I've grown then, and I can speak about it. If you can speak about it, you're improving. It's when people can't talk about it, the shame. I've been there. No judgment, no judgment. When you can't speak about it because you're so frightened of me knowing, family, friends, the whole world, it really hurts. Because what hurts more is not just the pain, but the loneliness of carrying the lie and feeling that I can't share this with anyone. Who said that? I share it with the whole world. I want everyone to know this about me, because it's not important what they think, because they're not in my relationship. Like my friend used to say, they're not loving you at night, they're not paying your bills. People that love you in your life are, but I am. I'm with me. I've got to look after me. I've got to love myself. I was going to say, who else is going to do it? Of course my mum's going to do it, but I'm 40 years of age. She's going to do it anyway. I'm too irresistible. And my dad and my family. But I've got to learn. We're adults. And it feels good and it feels right. It feels correct. And then you think about, I care about the other person. I'm going to say this. I remember Teddy Atlas said this. It really touched my heart, and I agreed. He said, when you love someone so much, you actually love them more than yourself. I totally get it. You care about them more. They mean that much. That's from the heart, and that shows that you're brave. So that gets you through it. You don't just focus on, oh, how do I feel? You're like, we had a great time. I want them to do well. If I see them again, great. If I don't see them again, awesome. Gratitude in every area. I accept it. It's fine. I'm going to continue living my life and appreciate them. And when you do that, what can you say? You got the truth. Love this video. This video was brilliant, by the way. This is an exercise I give my clients. It's not arrogance, it's humility. Well done, Jonathan. Well done for having the courage. It's taken me 40 years to share this. It's going to change so many people's lives, and it's helping me. I need to keep myself strong. I've got to keep my mental health good. How can I help my clients? I've got to look after myself. I can't inspire millions of people. I'm still human at the end of the day, which is a good thing. And I know that you'll appreciate this. And do you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind if people judge me. I don't mind it. I'm fine with it. Brilliant. I like it. I'll only pray for you and say, I forgive you, because you're only going to hurt yourself. But I do get it. Not an easy thing. So if you feel comfortable, share it. And my clients have gone to another level. And I found in the early days, I didn't share this with my clients. I didn't think it would be appropriate. It might be too much. But then I had a realization and got on and thought, I must share this. They request it. How can I tell my clients to be vulnerable, face all these abandonment fears and anxieties if I'm not doing it? So it's the least I can do. And I share my story, and they appreciate it. They trust me, because they know that I'm not better than them. We're on the same level, and I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm certainly not below anyone. Neither of my clients are you. And then they can work through their stuff and say, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel that. And I'm like, you can overcome this because I've done it, or you can improve this. So this is life-changing. Relationships. If you don't get your relationships right, how can you get your life right? The relationship starts with ourselves and with other people. So we have to have tools in place, because if we're not taught these things, we're going to stay broken. We're not going to learn. So this is how you do it. I also want to say a thanks. I'm not going to say names. There's a lot of good people online, men and women, therapists, anxiety teachers. They've really helped me with my healing to be better, because I'm still learning and healing. And I appreciate it. I appreciate anyone who's got guts and who's honest and puts themselves on the line, shares their vulnerabilities to help me personally and other people. You can't put a price on that. So I really appreciate this video. Thanks for listening. If you want to share your thoughts in the box below, you can. And this is a continuation, because I like to update people on my improvement. And that's how I teach. I teach through living it, failing, getting back up, succeeding, and sharing my vulnerabilities. And then I can say, yep, I've overcome that fear. That's done. This is a fear that I'm still working on improving. You can do the same. That's my story. As the great Les Brown says, I'm sticking to it. I'll see you next video. Like, share, subscribe. All the best of luck with this. Keep going. Don't let that voice blackmail you and shame you, because we all feel lonely. I felt lonely when I've had everything. But gratitude, then you can find something in the loneliness, and then you're not lonely anymore. And then you're confident, This is what happened to me in the last few years. When this first happened, I was petrified. I remember saying to my mum, I'm afraid of this, mum. This person I really like, because I'm scared that I'm going to feel lonely after. My mum gives great advice. She's probably the best unpaid therapist in the world. My mum just says, look, it's life. You've got to deal with it. You've got to accept that's going to happen when you have a good time, when you love someone. You can't let it break you. Okay, second time, really hard, a little bit easier. Third time, a bit better. This time, I can handle it. I feel great. And that's what gives you strength, because you see the progress. Anthony Robbins is right. When you're making progress, ladies and gentlemen, whatever situation it's in, it gives you everything in life that you need. Self-esteem, confidence, hope, and then that takes away the loneliness. And I find with a lot of clients, when they're feeling lonely, simple things, simple stuff. Sit down, we have a coffee, nice place, coffee shop, park, we'll have a conversation. We don't always have to go about it. It doesn't always have to be rigid about coaching. I don't have to tick boxes. I can talk to them as human beings, and they feel uplifted again. And I'm no different. A conversation can change your life, all right? Take you out of being lonely. Anyway, I've got to go now. Fearless.